So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with the recovering Democrat. I should say that way, uh, Donovan Saadiq, and this is the Demetra K Show and podcast where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. With the emphasis on even, because we believe that we are great, but we can always be greater. Always room for improvement, right? And so it is Tuesday, March 1st, and this year is going by fast, right? I'm still in the habit of writing 2021, and I'm like, no, it's 2022. So anyway, today we are going to be talking about that of Asia Maynard. You guys may or may not have heard about her situation. It's the young lady that's in a photo behind me. It was the photo. I didn't cut it off per se. It's just kind of how it was next to the person I'm going to talk about. Anyway, her situation is a very sad one, but it's becoming very common. But we're going to get into that in just a few. Donovan, what say you?
Hey, well, again, it's March 1st. Happy Mardi Gras to those guys down in the South that are celebrating that. Isn't it funny that they got the election on Mardi Gras? It happens in some election cycles have fell on Mardi Gras, which means maybe a lot of Black folks are going to be too partied out to go vote. So, maybe, I don't know. So if you got some beads and if you got enough beads, show me your... Anyway, but I know. Hey, do us a favor. Please like, share, and subscribe. Even become a member. And if you so are willing, we've got Cash App, Venmo, and all these other applications you can go to. And then you can listen to Demetra K's podcast on all of the podcast speakers, Podbean, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, and what's the other new one? There's another one I keep forgetting about, but you guys can check us out there.
Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. So on February 18th, a young lady, as the one behind me, by the name of Asia Maynard, she is a mother of four, 29-year-old. Well, she was, I should say, mother of four, went out on a date with this guy here. His name is Isaiah Crown. Went out on a date with him, and it sounds like she had just met him. And her sister said the following in regards to what she knows of what happened. So she says, she and her sister name is Tara. She called me Friday at 10:30 or 11 and said, hey, I met a new friend. I'm going on a date. I'll be home by tomorrow. Okay. So this was the 18th. Okay. And so she says that, from that point, they never heard from her again. They never heard from Asia again. So after Friday, she called. She never showed up, and that's not like her. So another day goes by. I said, something's not right. It's not sitting right with my spirit. Now, this is her sister saying this. So it says, Tara told the news outlet that she called the police to file a missing persons report, but was told that Asia was probably fine and they would reach back out. Only Tara would soon learn that the authorities already knew about Asia's death and they were never contacted. So she says Saturday morning, they found my sister deceased. And so what happened was the guy that she went on a date with, Isaiah Crown here, guess he reported her dead. So it sounds like she had died on the 19th. So they went on a date or whatever. She went to his house on the 18th and reported her dead on the 19th, because that's what they have as her date of death. And then, of course, her family found out about on the 20th. Now, her family was told that, from the authorities, there doesn't seem to be any foul play involved. Okay, there's no foul play involved.
And this was the next day.
Well, yeah, when they talked to the authorities, when they found out that her sister was deceased, they told her it doesn't seem like there's any, foul play from what we can see right now, But the sister said when they went to the mortuary, the coroner's office, wherever it was, that the sister's eyes were full of blood, her ears was full of blood, and her clothes were drenched in blood. Now, they also said that it appears that she died of natural causes. Now, to just hearing that, most of us would think, well, what kind of natural cause would cause a 20? And their family said that she didn't have any history of drug use. She was healthy, no ailments or anything like that. And so it would cause you to think, what natural cause would have you doing all of that, be found bloodied, right? And so, as you guys can see here, Isaiah Crown appears to be a Caucasian man, a zaddy, as some people would call him. And it also sounds like that he's had some other issues, and I don't want to really get into it because right now it seems like it's hearsay, but he's had some other issues with, allegedly, I'll say, with drugs and drugging people. But none of that's really, confirmed. So I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, as you can see, he's a white man, and she's a sister that's gone out with this white man and has turned up dead. Pardon the expression. Turned up dead. And again, we've heard this before. Most recently was that of Lauren Smith Field in Connecticut, another sister that went out with a white man, and for some reason she was, bloodied in his bed. They said that, actually, I think it was her bed. So they, when the family went to the house and they said the crime scene wasn't secure or anything like that, there was a big giant blood stain in the middle of the bed. But they were told that she had a bloody nose. The guy she was with was a white man too. He said she had a nosebleed, and that's where the blood came from. But her family's like, wait a minute, how does a nosebleed produce all of that blood? And so in her situation as well, they ruled it, an accidental death, or no foul play involved. Let's just say that. And so there's another white man that was with a sister that has gotten off the hook per se. The authorities like, well, seems like it was natural causes, and you guys have a nice life. And so the family also in this case wants a different investigation. Now, the authorities there are saying it's not a homicide investigation. It is a death investigation. So they basically want to delve into a little bit.
They can categorize what kind of investigation it is, right?
Yeah, so they want to see, how she died, but they're saying we don't see any foul play, and it doesn't appear to be a homicide. But it's like, well, I mean, you guys might want to do a little bit more work because it doesn't seem right.
Right, because I brought that up from the fact, like Breonna Taylor. This girl was murdered, but it's not classified as a homicide. Yeah.
Right. So, we're going to have a conversation in regards to that. And, this whole, and I know some people will probably get mad at it, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but, so I'm just not, again, I'm not trying to make people mad, but I do want to be able to speak in my honesty in regards to what is going on here. But, there's this big thing, I guess, and it's new to me, called the divestors, or Black women are divesting from Black men. And I don't know if this particular sister was a divester per se, but, I just think as loudly as the divestors talk about how, bad Black men are and horrible people they are, I think they need to speak up a little bit more loudly in regards to these white men doing horrible things to the sisters. Because I will say this, y'all, okay? Any divestors are listening, I see some of y'all peek in and out every once in a while. I have some stuff to say in your bounce. But one thing I would say about the brothers that harm sisters, they get in trouble. They don't have the police show up and say, well, ma'am, it seems like it was an accident. We don't see any foul play. That brother goes to jail and probably for life, right? But the thing about y'all dating these white men, the white men don't even get a slap on the wrist. They get, well, what can we do? He called us and said it was an accident. So the white men are getting away with murdering y'all. So y'all can't tell me that these things are the same, because they're not.
You brought up a good point when it comes to these divestors, and to each his own. You like what you like, you do what you do. Have at it. But I keep hearing about from these divestors how terrible Black men are and all this other stuff. Why is it that women think that they're perfect? Yeah, you know what I mean? In a relationship, how is everything on the dude? Okay, so if you're a divestor, if you become a divestor, in all of your relationships, the common denominator is you. So if your relationships, I don't care if you dated a Hispanic man, an Asian man, whatever, and then you decide to become a divestor, which is, you could do that too. The common denominator would be you in that situation. So it's like you're putting the onus like all Black men ain't nothing and it's all bad. Because what do I tell you all the time, Demetra? For me to stop dating Black women, I would literally have to date every Black woman on the planet, then come to the conclusion that Black women are not for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in regards to this young lady, and this case kind of reminds me, how many of you guys remember that Vandersloot guy
Yeah.
who was murdering people? I
Mm-hmm.
think he's down in Lima, Peru right now in a prison down there
Yeah.
still. He was
Natalie Holloway.
yeah, the Natalie Holloway crime, and then he murdered some other chick, and because he's a white guy, they just it's crazy how much privilege these people have. But you said that this young lady had 4 children.
4 children, 29 years old.
Okay, I just have a question. If you have 4 children, and I'm not saying whatever, but I just have, as an uncle and a father myself, you have 4 children. When do you have time? And I'm not saying you don't have time to go out, but when do you have time to go out on a date overnight? So whoever was keeping her children, I'm just saying, wouldn't that have plugged something in their mind? Like, look, you just met somebody, it seems from your narrative, that she had just met some guy and they're going to go out on a date. Okay. Maybe she got killed or whatever. But I'm just saying, when you have 4 children, you just had one. How much time did you ever have to just up and go on a date?
Well, yeah. And so that's part of the conversation I want to have.
Yeah.
I mean, again, and I don't want to
Yeah, I'm not slamming the situation. I'm just saying. Yeah.
We're not shaming the dead or anything like that, but I just think we'd be remiss not to have the total conversation. But I see a lot of people, and that's what I was just looking at, a lot of people posting about, here's another white man that's killed a sister, and RIP, this, that, and the other, and rightfully so. There should be a rest in peace rendered there. But I think we need to have a deeper conversation, and it is a problem. I think that if you're 29 years old, and again, no judgment, I was a mother at 21, I have 1 child, but you got 4 kids, and you're 29, and you out there dating, and this is somebody you sound like she's never met before. Right. My thing is, why are you out there dating, and somebody going to his house? Like, ladies, I haven't been on a date in a very long time, okay? But I would tell you what, if I did, I would not be meeting some dude at his house, some dude that I've never met a day in my life. I don't know anything about him at all, right? And I get it. Sometimes you get hot and bothered, and the texting is going good, and you want to listen, bruh. Later for all of that, I need to meet you at a Starbucks. I need to meet you at a library. Now, I'm dating myself now, but I need to meet you somewhere publicly. So that way, if you are some sadistic fool about the suburbs, that came from the Mac, RIP, you some sadistic fool out the suburbs want to break my arm, then you're going to have to break my arm in front of everybody here at Starbucks or wherever we are, right? But Donovan, you brought up a good point. And I'm going to get back to her, being 29 years old with 4 kids in a little bit. But you brought up a good point when we were speaking earlier. And it's like, why are these sisters? And this is your opinion. So I want you to talk this out. Absolutely. You're saying that the sisters seem like they're more willing to go meet a strange white dude
than a brother.
They would a black man. So tell me your opinion about that.
Well, to me, it isn't really my opinion. It's just what I'm actually seeing. It's like, why do they feel? And I'm not trying to stereotype. Please, you guys, we're not all encompassing here. You guys kind of follow me what I'm trying to say here. Why is it that these young ladies feel safer going to meet a white man when they wouldn't do the exact same thing for a black man? Is it because the media and stuff tells them that, oh, black men are dangerous and this, that? And if they're doing that, and I'm very sure they've been taught by their mothers, hopefully, any man that you meet for the first time, like you said, you don't just go do this and go to do that unless you're a 304 and you're doing what you need to do out there. But it just boggles my mind, because as an uncle, I tell my nieces, no, you don't do this, you don't do that, it's almost like common knowledge. But if you aren't you supposed to be safer with your own before you're with the others?
What you're supposed to be. And so, I don't know how true it is that black women feel more comfortable with white men. I don't know. And I'm not saying what you're saying is off. I just don't have any data to back that up. But if let's just assume that that is the case,
Okay.
we know that we as Black people have been conditioned, trained to think that if it's white, it's all right.
All
You
right.
know, and so I'm trying to be careful because I know, I don't, I'm just going to put a speculation out there that there's a lot of sisters who are enamored by white men. Ooh, he's a white man. Oh, child, look at him. Ooh, he's his blue eyes. I've heard it. So there's a lot of white Black women who are just taken aback by these white men. And so, yeah, they feel like, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
Wait. We have a friend that loves Joe Biden. She thought he's so handsome.
Um, they just probably feel that he's safe and he's harmless and all of that. And it's like, y'all ain't heard of Ted Bundy? Ted Bundy,
Well,
in the opinion of a lot of women, that he up with his cast on his arm. Most people and the women and stuff who got away was like, he was so handsome. And that's how he
yeah,
was able
educated,
to woo.
very smooth moving guy.
He was able to woo these women. And so it's like, I mean,
well, Wayne Gacy, most of your serial killers, a majority of your serial killers are white men. It's very rare that a Black person's a serial killer. It's very rare. And that's why I would joke with my white friends, like, I should be petrified of you right now. You know what I mean? When I'm hanging with them,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, I don't know if that's the assessment that they're doing when they're dating these white guys. And I'm listening. White people.
But wait a minute, Demetria. I mean, we have friends that are married to white men. I have a bunch of friends that are interracial.
And that's what I was going to say. I'm not trying to say that all white men are like Ted Bundy. Like, I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah. But what I'm going to say is this. You're right. A lot of my friends that are interracially married, especially the Black women that marry white men that are friends of mine, a lot of them have told me that they're under the impression that it's dating up. It's better for them. Oh, this guy has money, or this guy is more stable, or this person's this, or, the brothers ain't doing this, whatever. They've actually said that. And, I'm like, well, I think you're wrong, but to each his own.
Well, and also, we just did a podcast, I think it was Saturday, was talking about how they being the divestors and, whatever they want to call themselves, were mad at Tina Knowles Lawson for making the documentary uplifting the Black man. But it's like, why y'all ain't as loud about these white men killing these sisters? Why aren't y'all just as loud? Like, I mean, I've seen a few kind of make a bleep, but not all the vigor that they had for Tina Knowles, and her lifting a Black man. And so it's like, I think at some point in time, we, or I should say they, are going to have to admit that there is a problem here. And my thing is this, with these white men killing the sisters, clearly, or I don't say clearly, let's just say more than likely, the police are showing up to these scenes and the white man is probably, oh my God, this happened. I didn't know, we got a little too crazy. And I can almost hear the police officer saying, well, don't worry about it if it was an accident. Because in Lawrence Smith Field's case, they told her family that the guy would seem like a nice guy.
Nice guy.
And he's still, footloose and fancy free. And so I'm thinking these officers or whoever is showing up at the scene is like, okay, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. If it was an accident, we believe you, especially when they see that as a Black woman in the bed. Now, imagine if that was a Black man calling the police to say that it was a dead white woman in his bed. That you can bet $1 to a donut, the situation will be completely different.
Absolutely. And in that case with the young lady up in Connecticut, why wasn't it in the police report that a condom was found and obviously some sexual activity probably took place? We don't know when, but, a lot of things were omitted, and, they're finding, it's no secret in the Black community that police falsify reports. We all know that, even though white people are like, what? The police? Oh my God. No, so
I just think people need to really just understand the gravity of these cases, and that they're dismissing it as accidental or, no foul play involved. It's not homicide, but there's like, how do you explain all the blood?
Yeah. And see, and my thing is this. Recently, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she went to a white supremacist rally. And I'm looking at everything that is happening in the new Black media, yourself and other Black platforms. It's like we're ringing this alarm, letting these people know that these white, and I'm not trying to say this, but let's say it what it is. These white supremacist organizations are wreaking havoc. And would it be too far-fetched to think that they're out here murdering and getting away with it? Because there has been a report that a lot of your police departments across the nation are infiltrated. This is the FBI report, are infiltrated by white supremacists.
Or actually, the police had infiltrated the white supremacists because
right,
they started first, the KKK.
Right, exactly. And I just want to touch on this for our listeners and stuff like this. When you go and want to report a loved one missing, do not let the police tell you, oh, give it some time, or she's probably all of this or that. No, you get the report right. There is no time limit. Stop believing that. If you believe the loved one's missing, you do that report right then and there. And if the guy keeps trying to shoo you away, ask for a supervisor, so on, so forth. We watch too many damn movies where the guy goes, come back in 24 hours, and then, we'll see what happens or whatever. No, you can take the report right then and there. You're the taxpayer. You're the boss. Make them do their jobs. Because in that 24 hours that he shoos you away, Demetra, couldn't that be the difference between life and death?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you know your family member. Like, we got some people we know, it's like, it's not unusual for them to just take off and be gone, right?
Right.
But there's some people like, nah, because at this time of day, they would have been here, they would have been there, they would have been doing this and all of that. And so this is unusual for them to come up missing, per se.
Especially a woman that has 4 children.
Right. And so, like I said, I just think that the divesting community, or the sisters who want to get away from Black men so bad, and listen, I can't judge you. I'm sure you have your reasons for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I can't tell you your reason is wrong, right? So I don't want to get into that. But I think y'all need to start having a conversation that going off with Brad and them ain't that much better, because just like Black women accuse Black men of being, accused, or say white women only want to be with Black men because they're a fetish, the same thing is true for them. The white men want to be with the sisters because you're a fetish too. And my thing is this. Again, listen, I'm not judging nobody, but you're 29 years old, you got 4 children, and you out there. Like, why are you out there? Was he a potential suitor for you and the father of the kids? Like, were you on that, or were you just going to get your kicks up, or what? Like, what was that about? I guess we'll never really know. Mm-hmm. But I'm sad for her children, because their mom, and listen, I'm not trying to disrespect the dad, but their mom didn't think enough of them to say, while I probably haven't been out on a date in a while or whatever's going on, I'm not going to put my children in a way to where they would be without their mom, right? Like, there has to be some critical thinking going on here. Okay, I'm going out with a guy I've never met before, and I'm going to his house. Doesn't sound like too many people knew where she was, or sister knew she was going on a date, but doesn't sound like she knew where she was, because she was like, hey, we haven't heard from her, right? Because I would think they would have went over there if they knew. But what happened to the point where girls and women would just say, listen, girl, I'm going out with Bob, and this is Bob's name, his social security number, his mama name, where he lived, his license plate, and all of that.
Well, Demetra, when you were out here in California, you used to have the lie detector test thing all set up in your computer and put the guy thing on the finger, ask for his credit background. You used to do all of that. No, but in joking, you know what I mean? You're right. What happened to all of that? And then, this goes back, and I gotta defend Black men because I'm one of them. This goes back to the trope, totally untrue, about Black men not defending Black women. How the hell can we defend you if we don't know who you're dating, what's going on, and where it's going on?
I mean, that's a good point, but I don't know. And, I don't know who watched the children, but I don't know. Like I said, I had one child, and I didn't get to go out a whole lot. I didn't have the type of mama that would have left, watch my child, but I couldn't imagine somebody being able to drop 4 children off, and that not like, listen to the insanity in this. Yes. Hey, this is insane to me. Maybe because I'm older, right? I'm 50. Okay, you can see the gray hair. Maybe because I'm older, but this is insanity to me, right? who agrees to watch for wherever the kids were. I don't know. Maybe they were with their dad. I don't know. But who,
Daddies.
and
I'm sorry.
listen, I don't know
Right.
what the lady's situation was with the
Right.
daddies, whoever. But who agrees to watch 4 babies without knowing where this woman going?
Right. Exactly.
When
In
you
case something
coming
happened.
back? I need a little bit more information, then I'll be back. I'm just going on a date. Okay, yeah, that's great, but I need to know who you're going with, where you're going, what time you're coming back. Is there some contact information? Because there is some responsibility to that than other than you just like it. Even if you're seeing my mom, this one thing, God rest my mama. One thing she always says, she goes, I don't care how old you are. You better let somebody know where the hell you are at all times, because if you come up missing, nobody will even know where to start. Now, remember, this was before cell phones and all of that. So let somebody
that was
know where you're
basic
at.
knowledge. Yeah, that was basic knowledge. I mean, I call my mom as much as I can just to make sure. And right now, I know she's down in New Roads during the Mardi Gras parade, doing whatever she's doing with her family and stuff.
She's getting them beads,
getting the beads and doing all, whatever they're doing. She's probably down there doing her thing. But you know what I mean. But even now that my mom is a little bit more senior age, advanced age, I still check up on her just so I know where she's at and what she's doing. Like another good example, you guys. If you can put, and you have a single parent or whatever, put a tracker on their phone, Google Maps, where their location finder. That way you can kind of just see, where they're at, because we have a lot of our older Black women that are single. They don't have a man in the home and all that other stuff. And, it's just one way to, I just get tired of hearing grandma's been in the, on the floor for 3 or 4 days before they got to her. God forbid, she survived it, but it's just the fact that these seniors will fall and something will happen and nobody checks up on grandmama.
But see, the other part that I'm having too, Donovan, because before we had the ability to track people and all of that, it's common sense to tell people where you are. Listen, Ma, can you watch my daughter this night? I'm going out on a date with Bob. He's a nice guy. I met him, whatever, but this is his information. We're going to be at the Snooty Fox. I'm just kidding, y'all. If all y'all know Snooty Fox,
yes,
I'm just kidding. Exactly. We're going to be out dining or whatever.
Downtown Riverside. Yeah.
I will be back at 10:30. Okay?
Right. You had a time limit.
Yeah, so you're giving people that but this is the thing. So maybe if you ain't trying to tell people what you're doing, maybe you shouldn't be doing it.
Well, here's another thing too. How about this? Let's think about this. Look at what these young girls are telling each other. Get the bag. You got these Brittany Renners out here, and I'm not mad at them for doing what they do. But what I'm saying is, look at the messaging that is out there to these young Black women. Get the bag at any cost. Have a baby with anybody just so you can get the bag. Look a certain way. You got to have weed. You got to go do the 304 lifestyle. All this stuff. The Megan Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's, all of the. I think that has a part of the reason in the programming of some of these young ladies that would make a decision like that. I'm trying to figure out as a man, how can you have 4 children and be able to go on a date? You had 1. I have 2 children. And when they were growing up, I rarely went on a date because I had a part-time job to get to so I could support those children.
Well, I would say this, it's nothing new that Black girls and women, and like I said, a lot of Black people are missing, but specifically we're talking about Black girls and women. Not a secret that they're missing, because it is said that there's over 64,000 Black women and girls that are missing. And so I think we're just hearing more about it now because of the internet and
new Black
all
media.
Of that. But this is not new that somebody will go on a date and not tell somebody where they're going. All that. So this is not new. And I would say, in all fairness, that I was never taught to go have a baby on a dude, and this, that, and the other. So
I'm talking about the younger girls. Yeah.
But I guess I kind of want to just kind of walk that back a little bit, because I don't think that's necessarily being taught, maybe to some. And maybe to them in the middle, but I don't think it's being taught overall. Like
no. What I'm saying is the messaging and the culture. Look at the music. Look at what they're seeing. Look at the propaganda. I ain't saying it's being taught in the home. That ain't what I'm saying.
Right, but this is the thing, though. You talk about this a lot, okay? I have a 29-year-old daughter. I should say young woman, okay?
Young woman, yes. Hot, fellas, hot. Go ahead.
Not no Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, the City Girls. None of them are going to be more influential in the life of my daughter than me.
You.
And
Exactly.
that's the problem, that when these people, these girls are so influenced by the lifestyles, you say the hot girls and the city girl and all that other stuff. And to some people it may seem fun, and I guess on the surface it is.
Sure.
But when you start thinking that's how you need to operate on every realm, I'm chasing the bag, I'm getting over on dudes, and F these, all this, that, and the other, then yeah, that's a problem. But as mothers, we should be more influential in the lives of our daughters than any outside force. Like, when did we as women stop teaching? Because to me, like I said, I'm 50. I'm not that old in a larger scheme of things, right?
You're middle-aged.
I guess so, right?
Yes.
But the point that I'm making is, like, I remember getting that good advice from my mom and my grandma and the older women. There was just certain things you didn't do as young women. Like, one of the things my mom was like, shit, don't you, and my daughter would tell you, my mom told her the same thing. Don't you ever go out with a man with no money in your pocket,
right.
and without a way home. I have a dime. Now, that's how old I am. Put a dime in a damn payphone, quarter, whatever it was, to call somebody to come pick you. Don't ever just be out there thinking, oh, I'm completely taken care of. Nah, God bless the child that's got his own. Yeah. And so we're not teaching our girls common sense. Yeah. Why in the hell would you go lie up in a strange, I don't care if he was green like a Martian. Why would you go lie up in a strange man's house and then just think everything's okay? Hell, you can't even walk through the parking lot of Macy's nowadays without having your head on swivel.
Yeah, well, remember when we were younger, and even if you went to the all-nighters at the base, you girls used to come in packs. Y'all used to date together. Y'all used to date together. That way, if one, caught something, you all went together, went to Denny's afterwards. It was like a group thing. It was, if I just met somebody, I'm a man, it's a little different, but I just remember, you young ladies back in the day, if I met you, then your girlfriend's right there and y'all came together. So there's no way, even if you were coming back to my house or my dorm or whatever, your girlfriend's coming too with her dude or whatever she met.
And you can best believe if that ever happened, one of us had a box cutter, boo-boo. I'm just saying,
right.
It's wild and loose up in there.
Right,
but
exactly.
To your point, what happened to the good girlfriends that you say, hey, girl, I met Brad and, he cute.
Yeah, I want you to go with me.
Well, what happened to the girl? I said, girl, you better sit your ass down. You got 4 kids already. You don't know that man from a can of paint. What happened to those girlfriends?
Right. But then again, hey, uncle, could you watch my kids? Oh, okay. Well, how long are you going to be gone? Where are you going? Don't worry about that.
Well, then you better take these kids with you.
Right, exactly.
Take them to meet their new potential stepdaddy or whoever he's supposed to be.
It's stepdaddy season, right?
Right, But I just, and the crazy thing is, it's not really crazy. It's actually ingenious. I was listening to Ricky Smiley, and I don't know the gentleman he was talking to, and I sent you the video because it was sent to me. And it was about a 27-minute conversation of them just freestyling and talking about how this younger generation can't take correction. They can't.
What me and you were talking about years ago.
Yeah, can't take advice, and and talking about how the mamas want to pacify the boys, and they basically raising boys that they wouldn't want to date, and all of that kind of stuff, and talking about how sorry a lot of these men are that they got to be told to do this. I mean, it was just a great conversation, and so that kind of just reminds me of what we're talking about. Is like, people cannot take advice. Like, I would just want to believe that there was somebody in Asia, because that's Asia, Asia's life, that said, baby, are you, girl, you got folks, what like the 7 Color Purple, a woman with chilling shouldn't be, on the juke joint, that shouldn't even be a thing, right? You got 4 babies. Girl, the last thing you need is to be going and find something new. You need to sit at home and deal with what you got.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, I'm not saying your life is over, but when you have like a bunch of children, you kind of canceled any opportunity to be like the single girl out there.
Let's keep it all the way real, honey. Let's keep it all the way real. When you 29 with 4 kids, you got other stuff to be doing.
Right.
And clearly the daddy, or dad, who I'm just gonna say daddy because I don't know if there was multiple dads, but clearly the daddy was not in their life unless you was creeping on him, because you out there with Brad or Isaiah, I should say. His name is Isaiah Crown, but you out there with Isaiah, and so some people will get mad and say, "Well, she should. That don't mean she should be able to date." I'm telling you, as I had a child at 21, and the last thing that I was trying to do was be out there with a whole bunch of dudes. I was my daughter's mother. She came first, and I was not going to put myself or her in a situation to be harmed by anybody. I was not going to have somebody have to explain to my daughter, well, your mama was out there because she was hot in the pants and she ain't coming back. And furthermore, I didn't want her to be living with her daddy. I'm just playing.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you say that, because when you did have your daughter and stuff, the base nightclub has never been the same.
Nah, I mean that stuff stops. And I'm telling y'all, this is like really my pet peeve. My pet peeve is, and I'm speaking to the moms because I can't speak to the dads, but I'm speaking to the moms. What in the ugly heck? Because I wanted to say the F word, but I'm a lady. What is me time? Like, I get me time. Like, okay, this little badass little girl, she sleep. It's some me time. Maybe I'll take a nap. Maybe I'll, paint my nails, whatever. Me time. But did my light go out?
No, you're fine.
But the me time, these girls, these women, these mamas are talking about, I need to go off on vacation with my homegirls for a week and 2 weeks, and I need to be. No, you lie down and had the child or the children, and you don't get that kind of me time. And then I could go on forever. This is the part that really make me mad. They be mad because you don't want to watch the kids.
Yeah.
It's like,
I need a break.
You got one when you was breaking headboards. That's when you got a break, okay? But I didn't make the kids. Right. You made the kids.
Right.
I'm not a grandma yet, but if I was, my child knows I'm a grandmama for recreation, not obligation.
Right.
You're not going to obligate me to watch no kids. I'm going to watch them because I want to watch them.
Right. Yeah. And I get that a lot. I'm not a grandfather to tell my knowledge. And I tell people all the time, I'm not obligated to deal with these kids because, again, as a man, you got to remember, I'm a man. When I started having my children, and I had to go get it. I couldn't be you couldn't find me in the clubs anymore. I mean, it was just like, I would love to have done it and, and had a nice run, but, I had a good run as a young man, I had a go for a baby. You had a go for a baby. And then, life started happening for me. And it was like, by the time I actually went back to a club just to kind of see what it was about, it was a totally different vibe. It was like it had already passed me by, and
your mind frame, you're not there no more. It's like, okay, I'm really a grown up now, right? Like I got grown up responsibilities. I got a child. I got mouths to feed. And I don't like, the last thing I need to do is be off in the club, shaking my money maker and spending money that I need for my child up in the club.
Right. And I'm not talking about like I went back to the club when my child was 15. I'm talking about I went back to the club like when the child was maybe 2 or 3. And I was like, well, I got things I got to do. I can't be wasting time. I'm tired. I'm working 2 jobs.
The thrill was gone. It's like,
it was gone. A lot of the same women in my age group, they started having their children, and everybody was gone. It was just a new vibe type situation. So I look at a lot of these girls and I say, how do they have time to go to clubs? And then, we have this mindset now, especially with our young girls. And like I said, I don't think necessarily it's taught in the home. But Demetra, when we were coming up, and I know things have changed, but when did I heard a young lady tell me this. She admires Cardi B because Cardi B came out of the strip club to become a very successful entertainer. How many Cardi B's are there that can actually do that? And you got a lot of girls out here that think that that's the way to go if they want to be in entertainment, whatever. And then you got girls that now will go on OnlyFans because they don't want to get a regular job. And I'm all, do what you want to do as long as, it's, in good taste or whatever. Because remember, the internet's forever. So if you're going to go out there and bust it wide open, be prepared for that. But you have a lot of these young girls that are just putting themselves in danger, be it, if not on a Brad, escorting my fans. It ain't just black girls, it's other girls too. It's like a total different mindset when it comes to these younger people. You know, of course, technology, like we talked about for years, AI is going to wipe out a lot of jobs, you know, but ladies, what do you do when the body and gravity starts taking over? What is your backup plan? And just like that Bill Moyers thing, we're seeing a lot of women who didn't have a backup plan. I have friends now whose mothers, you know, got caught up in the drug and the crack epidemic and stuff, and they won't even let their there's I saw it the other day, it's on YouTube, it's Atlanta Speaks or something, where this guy interviews homeless black Atlanta homeless people, and a lot of the women were in abusive relationships, got caught on drugs, they were molested at a young age. I mean, the story is constantly the same, and they're on the streets to this very day. Now you got to think about mama in the 90s who was in the strip club doing that thing or whatever she was doing, popping that thing, whatever. Now let's talk about the girls right now that are on OnlyFans, doing that thing, living paycheck to paycheck, because you're not putting anything away. What are you going to do when you get my age? Where's your Social Security? Where, you know, what's going to happen there if you even make it to that far?
Well, I just think too, yeah. So I mean, that's a good question to ask. I mean, that lifestyle is very fleeting.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of rarely do people make it, like you said, to the Cardi B statuses or your Jenna Jamesons or you know, any of
Jenna
those.
Jameson is jacked up right now. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I'm saying, but she was able to flip hers into an empire. You know,
right.
So, but that's rare. Most of them, you know, end up on, you know, some other stuff, right? And I think me and you both know people who are wearing that lifestyle and it didn't work the way they thought it was, and they, you know, kind of didn't end up good for them. But I mean, I just think it's important, especially us as Black people, to stick together. Like a lot, like I'm always going to go back to the basis of what's wrong with us, other than, you know, us being charted over here on slave ships and being conditioned and, you know, brainwashed and all of that, is that we don't teach our children anymore. And I always say this, y'all gonna always hear me say this, especially now, a lot of these kids are just doomed due to the, and parenting is not what it used to be. Cell phones and these damn tablets. Like these parents are so freaking lazy, where you don't teach your kids because you're so busy scrolling on your phone, and you know, you got to keep up with all the latest. You on the shade room,
TikTok. You're doing a TikTok video.
That kind of stuff.
I've never seen with the Black community in the dire straits that we are right now. We are in dire straits, and people don't want to believe that. We've lost a third of our wealth in 2008. A pandemic made a lot of Black people go unemployed. The gentrification going on in major cities. Black people are in dire straits. And I look at these TikTok videos. I've never seen so many people just dancing like fools, knowing that they're not preparing themselves for, you know, what's coming down the pipe.
Well, because a lot of people, you know, are trying to get discovered or go viral and have that moment. And again, a lot of people don't realize social media fame is, it is like a luck of the draw. It really kind of, it just really is, right? If you're hot, and you might strike if people like you, and it's really a gamble. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, people do need to think of other things to do, but we have to get back to the point of teaching, like our grandmamas and our mamas and our daddies and our grandparents used to do. Get back to really teaching from the cradle. It doesn't start when a kid is wayward and it doesn't want to listen and is out there doing this thing. It starts from the cradle, and you start imposing expectation on those children of what you expect for them to do, and you follow through. Put your damn phone down, get them off the tablet. Because I remember when I was coming up, we obviously didn't have phones, cell phones. We had the phone.
Yeah, we did. We had that big brick.
Yeah, well, we had the long with the phone cord, you know, and, you know, all of that. But I remember having to read. I remember having to do book reports. I remember having to be productive. And unfortunately, a lot of you parents out there, man, I ain't talking to y'all that watch, I'm talking to the ones over there. A lot of you parents out there just really believe that you're parenting your child by putting them in front of something that all day long, keeping the child from bothering you. Listen, I'm not going to lie. as a parent, I was a young parent. I was, like, damn, I wish sometimes I could just have my time to myself. But I was like, but yeah, it ain't her fault. So be her parent.
All you were going to do was read a book. Golly.
But like my daughter's 29, they have tablets and all of that. We didn't even have a TV in my house for a very long time. We would listen to the radio and we did other stuff, which is why my daughter's like this big music head and she likes all genres of music because that's what we did. I mean, maybe I should go to CPS for this, but Curtis Mayfield, Superfly was one of her favorite
albums. Yeah.
She was a kid.
I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, I'm your.
Oh yeah, she can sing all that when she was like 4 years old. She had it all down pat. But anyway, that probably makes me a piss poor parent to some degree. But the point that I'm making is, I spent time with her. We didn't watch TV. I've got her involved in sports and dance and different programs. So I guess if I could appeal to parents out there, spend some time with your children. I mean, they'll be better people for it, and we'll be better people for it.
Yeah, see, to me.
But wait, let me say this. I get tired of going to restaurants and hearing because the child can't behave, and then you got to slap a cell phone or something in front of his face for it to behave. It's like, just don't bring them if they can't behave.
Right. But Dimitri, you got to tell the whole story. Not only did you work, in addition, you still found time to parent your child.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 jobs.
And I don't understand how women who might be on the system or might only have one child, they can't handle it. And they've got one, and they're not like they're going to a job. They're sitting at home getting, 8 or whatever.
Not be selfish. Yeah. To be a parent. I'm not saying that you don't do self-care and all of that. That's important so you can maintain. Don't think I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to run yourself ragged. But you cannot be selfish and be a parent too. They do not mix well at all, and somebody's going to get the short end of the stick, and it's more than likely the children. And then you got to remember, you're raising the children that will grow up and go out into society and be a productive citizen or be a goddamn nuisance.
And society will take care of that.
Exactly. And so, just kind of bringing it back around to Asia again. I don't want anybody to think that we are shaming her. I do not know this young lady's situation, what her deal was with the kids and all of that. But I just think that we would be remiss if we didn't bring it up and say, like, what is a woman with 4 kids at the young age of 29 out there gallivanting? That's some old word right there. Yeah, gallivanting with a strange guy. And that needs to really be examined. And the other thing, back to the original point of a lot of these divestors talking about Brad is a better choice. Is he really? Is he really? Especially, is he a better choice? Especially if he does something foul to you and he gets away with it. Where is this dude? Is he out at with his next date? Well, like he's just out there in
Vandersloot, like a Vandersloot, walking around waiting to kill the next victim.
And Asia's funeral is coming up, and he's out there doing what?
Right, and then here's another question: even if you are doing that, we've said this for years, Demetra. Do you have insurance for that loved one that just got killed unexpectedly? Not that it's a money-making thing, but 70% of all white wealth comes out of insurance. But there was a good point also, because when we're talking about Asia making bad decisions, Demetra, and I know brothers that have divested, and it's been a nightmare for them.
Bruh.
You know what I mean?
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? So we're not just coming down on the ladies. There's been brothers. I don't know a dude right now that didn't divest and didn't regret it.
Let me tell y'all a story, okay? I ain't gonna say his name, but I talked to a brother.
Smoke.
That's your brother. I ain't smoke. I ain't had nothing to do with none of that.
No, go ahead.
I talked to a brother who said, and he, dates everything but a black woman, but he said his next woman will be black. But he says this. He says, brothers talk a lot of stuff about black women. He says, yeah, black women do a lot of stuff. But he says, when they done with you, they done with you. Like, okay, I'm good, whatever. Even if they do take you through the stuff for a minute, they done with you. He said, but a white woman will hook her hooks into you and never let go.
and grind those bones till there's
Right.
nothing left.
Never let go. You hurt me. Well, you know, have you all up at the child support office, and they, you know, it's just doing a lot. So
And
this
the
was a
kids are
brother.
grown, and she's still going back and trying to get the money.
This
She's
was a
still making
brother
up stuff.
who was, I guess you guys could say, it was a divester, and he was like, He said, black women,
Never again.
they crazy, but they leave you alone eventually. But the white women,
Yeah. And then with the sister, you know what you're getting. And you know, and just before we get ready, well, we got some time still. Ladies, here's another thing that when you were talking about the Ricky Smiley thing, when I watched that, Ricky Smiley hit on something that actually happened to me with my youngest son. Ladies, please, your baby daddies, whatever, if that father is doing something that you do not agree with in regards to how he's disciplining the child or how he's talking to the child, walk away. I remember when I was getting in my son's ass about something, and his mother, I looked at his mom, and she wanted to jump in, but she knew better. You know what I mean? Not that I was going to jump on her, but you know what I mean? It was like, I told her, walk away, because if he doesn't understand as a man what I'm teaching him, society ain't going to have no excuse when you get out there and society gets a hold of you. And then, you know, we're getting a call that you're locked up, whatever. There are certain things men have to communicate to their sons, even their daughters, that you might not necessarily agree with because you're coming at it from a woman's perspective, because you guys are a woman mindset. But there are certain programs. Demetra is a prime example. And I kind of smile every time Demetra brings it up. Demetra, I am very sure a lot of your personality comes from your mother, but I see a lot of your personality that you got from your father.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad
and the
tells me
wisdom he instilled into you.
My dad tells me all the time, he says, out of all my children, he only got 4. 5, but one is deceased. Out of all my children, you are the one that is most like me in every way, you know, thinking wise, speaking, and, you know, fearless. And he says, he says, you are like my sponge, you know, and if y'all saw my mom and listen to my mom, I get that all the time. You sound just like your mom. Oh, you look just like your mom. But yeah, my dad was very influential. It still is influential in, you know, in my life. So yeah, dads are important.
Right. They're definitely important. And like I said, sometimes when that man is spending time with that child, be it a male or a female, and you might not agree with what he's saying, ladies, you're not a man, so you don't understand what he's trying to instill. Demetra, I'm very sure your dad told you how you should be treated by a man and how you should treat a man.
Oh, absolutely. And I learned that from my mom as well, you know, which is why I don't understand a lot of these women running around talking crazy to men. It's like, I would just say this to y'all, okay? If y'all made it this far. I'm not saying men don't get on our nerves, because they do, trust me. They get on our nerves.
Vice versa.
Yeah, I just think we need to find a better
kitchen or the bedroom. That's how we went. Kitchen or the bedroom.
Right. Or the rooftop, if y'all believe in the Bible. Tell you go to the rooftop if a woman is nagging you, right? But it also says, and I don't go to church, nor do I really follow the Bible, but I know it says a woman that, you know, is nagging is like a dripping faucet, right? It's annoying. And so as women, I would just say we need to find a better way to communicate. You don't need to undress that man verbally. You woo woo woo, you BA N-word and this, that, and the other. Because one thing I would tell y'all is this, and I'm not a man, but I can kind of ascertain this, that if a man, and I say that's from a woman's point of view, if a man feels like he is with his mom, he's not going to be attracted to you.
Thank you.
Because that's something, you know, a mama would do. Take out the trash.
Yeah, a man doesn't want to be raised again.
And not only that, he don't want to feel like he's jumping in the bed with his mama. Just like for me personally, I wouldn't want to be with no man who was doing that to me. I was like, dude, you sound like me. Even my dad don't even do all that. But damn, you sounded kind of patriarchal here. And I'm just not turned on by that.
Yeah, you know, I always would tell the women I'm dating, especially when it comes to my children, I don't mind. I love a strong woman for my children, not for me. Not for me, for my children.
And to your point, it's really about knowing when to dial it back. You cannot raise that man. And the crazy part about it is I see a lot of women, you don't even talk to your children the way you're talking to your man.
That's a good point. Good point.
You talking to this man like he, and listen, some of y'all men don't have no sense now. Y'all don't. Y'all let y'all off your rocker. However, that does not mean that y'all don't deserve to be talked to kindly and vice versa. You know,
right.
we should, and y'all know I'm big on communication. It's part of my thing. We should just learn how to communicate with each other. I mean, have you ever been in a screaming match with somebody?
Oh, yeah. Nothing gets resolved.
Yeah, did you hear what the other person said? And they
Not at all.
probably didn't hear what you said because I want to make sure you don't get to say what I want to say, and I'm gonna say and it just becomes noise.
Yeah.
So we got to get in the habit of listening to each other, and that's the problem. I say this all the time. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We're supposed to listen more.
Right, more than we talk, right? Because I got to a point when it comes to the modern woman, when I saw the modern woman coming out in the 90s, I just turned off and I would walk away. And ladies, the biggest mistake you can do, like a yipping dog yipping at somebody's heel, is to follow a man when he walked away from you.
Well, and the other thing too is you said during the 90s, but when her name slips my mind, so forgive me. She says you got to have a JOB to get with me.
Gwen Guthrie.
Green Guthrie. People got mad. What you mean? She trying to be a gold digger. She trying to, but it's like, nah, she was really keeping it real, right? Like you can't just be out in these streets with no job and trying to get with me. As my daddy always say, no romance without the finance.
Is a nuisance.
Yeah, and we need to teach our men and our young men and our young women that, like, if you as a woman is looking for a dude, you know, to take care of you and to get the bag and all of that, what are you doing to earn that bag? You can't, you haven't some a little hole down there and, you know, a big fat booty and whatever. You got to do more than that, because eventually that will fade, the booty will drop, and the rock will dry up, and all of that. And then what does that man get after all of that is done? And I'm not saying, because I can almost hear somebody saying, well, he need to. I'm talking about a man who's doing what he's supposed to be doing. I ain't talking about them busters and dusters that y'all used to dating. I'm talking about a man that's doing what he's supposed to do. You eventually have to answer that question as a woman. If you are seeking a man to take care of you, what am I going to do to earn my keep, per se?
You know, it's funny that you bring that up, because I looked at Facebook and, you know, all these different social media things, and I see these young girls, even some older women, and they're smoking their dope, you know, their weed, they're drinking, they're dressed a certain way and whatever deals. And I'm thinking, ladies, if you're in the strip club, okay, and you're a bad bitch, right? Excuse my language if you don't like that, but you're a bad B, right? You know, you get all the money, you go to the VIP club, you're in the VIP room, whatever. Do you really think a guy is going to wife you? I mean, a normal guy.
Well, I was going to say, be careful, brother, because there's a lot of men out there who like all of that. And listen,
no, they are. But the longevity of that person. Okay, so like I'm seeing these girls on social media doing all that stuff, right? And let's say, you know, that's with you forever. If you've been in the club and you're known as Kiki, the chick that was in the club, now you're 60. I mean, we have friends, and, you know, maybe that were older than us back in the day, and there were some bad chicks and there were some bad dudes. Where did Ray end up? Jail.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you want a quality man, you got to be a quality woman, and vice versa.
That was my point.
Yeah, right? Vice versa. You want a woman, you got to be a quality man. I mean, you can't, listen, I always say water seeks its own level, and so do people. Right. Whether you realize it or not, you know, and so you just got to be what you're seeking to some degree. And I think for those of us who are raised from the old school, like I always tell y'all, my mom didn't work. My mom was a stay-at-home mom all the way up until I was 18, you know, but she had to play her role. And yes, I am emphasizing role, because that's what men and women did. They had roles that the man did this. And in my family's case, my dad worked, brought home the bacon. When my mom stayed home, they didn't eat bacon because they was Muslim. I'm just using that as a metaphor. My mom fried it up and took care of the kids, and served it, the household. She made sure that my dad was straight, and in turn, he made sure she was straight. It was a give and take.
See, you brought that up though. But that type of lifestyle now is, to a lot of these young girls, that's weak. oh no, I can't be no house. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost a negative now to say you were a housewife or to
Well,
say.
a man worth his weight ain't gonna be with no woman. That's why I keep telling y'all who
Mhm.
say y'all don't want a modern woman to stop entertaining modern women. And for the women,
Mhm.
you don't want a simp or a beta male or a
Mhm.
man who can't keep a job or a man who can't lead. Stop entertaining those men. Entertain the man that you want and be that woman that said man will say, you know what? Shit, let's stop looking. Let's stop looking and we're gonna do what we gotta do, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know. But anyway, RIP to
Uh,
Asia.
yeah. Real quick, what do you think the outcome of Asia's situation is going to be? Or do you think that they were going to open up the case and pursue it in regards to has Ben Crump landed on the ground or?
I've seen him talk about it, so perhaps he is going to get involved. And I should say, if I didn't say in the beginning, it just happened in Kansas City, Missouri. So seems like if Missouri is maybe a red state. I don't know what that is, what the deal is. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say unless there's some pressure put on there, because unfortunately with Black women, and and I hate to say this, but it's just true. Black women, they go through this kind of stuff, like in Breonna Taylor's. Not that she was on a date, but she was murdered by the
Right.
police. It gets a lot of buzz for a minute, then it goes shoo, then the next one happens.
Yeah, have you noticed that we've been desensitized by all these murders, the George Floyd thing?
But see, because it's a Black woman, right?
Yeah.
Black women is kind of like, oh, then it goes away. But like we heard about that, I can't think of the white woman's name that came up missing, and her boyfriend ended up,
Oh yeah, yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
months ago. Everybody and their mama from all the way up to Mars was concerned about what happened to this white girl.
Bounty hunters came down. All
Everybody, and then they found out, she was more than likely killed by him. The point that I'm making is you got to be a white woman to get some results. And so, because Black women, we know that we're not terribly important in the larger scheme of things, especially when it comes to white men harming us. Maybe you need to think about sitting at home and watching an episode of Golden Girls until we figure this shit out between us Black men and women. Because at the end of the day, we need each other, right? We need each other. So anyway, y'all, RIP to Asia Maynard. Hopefully, her family does get some justice. She's got 4 babies that don't have a mother now. So very, very sad and heartbreaking for them, because they'll have to hear this story about what happened to the mom. And so, again, hopefully she gets justice, y'all. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. We do have a Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. If you want to help support this channel, we greatly appreciate it. Become a member and all of that. And we will see you guys. Our next podcast will be this coming Saturday. And I don't know what we'll talk about. If y'all have any suggestions, please let us know. Thank you, Donovan, so much for being here. And we will talk to y'all later.